CKUT 90.3 FM.
Tata, I don't know where you're going to lean on this. I don't know how you're going to slide on this. This younger culture would never understand how we viewed education and teachers. They've never seen Lean On Me. Our next guest is the real life Morgan Freeman. I mean, he would have had the parents, the teachers, the school board, the municipality. He would have had to call Joel de Belfort to bail him out. They would have had to kick him out. I've been hearing about this gentleman I'm about to introduce for the last 2 decades. I'm so honored. What a year we've had. We've had everybody we want to have. If you guys don't know, we'll do like we used to do it. He's the educator, community leader. He's renowned for his unwavering commitment to empowering Black youth through education and mentorship. And if you guys are new to the show, we are very, very big on bolstering up teachers. Yeah. We always felt that teachers should be viewed the same way doctors are viewed. Because how can you diminish a profession that's sole job is to educate future minds? Yeah. And one of the greatest guys, teachers around the country know his name. We are honored this morning to have Mr. Alix Adrien on the show. How you doing, King?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here. I can't wait.
He looks a little bit shy.
Oh, hell no. You don't teach us. You give us a mic. We're ready to go.
Hold on. Before you go, let me run through, because I took time and I went through the accomplishments. Yeah. So let's talk about his career in education. Mr. Adrien is the president of the Quebec Board of Black Educators. You know what I mean? It's an organization dedicated to supporting Black students and advocating against educational bias. And we have a lot of that. The curriculum is funny, Mr. Adrien. We need you to work with this. You also have a background in mathematics from the University of Ottawa, which any bird that's good with numbers, we can trust. We love the guys that are good with the numbers. You've been a teacher, vice principal. I heard you're currently pursuing a master's in educational leadership at McGill University. It seems like you've completed that. You might be the dean of McGill when it's all said and done. You have partnered with Basketball Hall of Famer Denburk Reid to launch the QBBE's 2021 Summer Institute, combining educational support with sports and leadership, training over 350 students. God be with you. The real life Morgan Freeman. Lean on Father Adrien. That's what we call him. Yes. Father Adrien. But more importantly, speaking about advocacy, you have actively worked to raise awareness about anti-Black racism in schools, mediating between families and educational institutions to ensure fair treatment and support. Alix is also deeply committed to student success, often going beyond traditional teaching methods. That's a nice way of saying he's the Morgan Freeman. To ensure his students grasp complex concepts, his dedication has earned him the affectionate title of Mr. Adrien is Math Made Easy.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Montreal, my say it's been a long time coming. How does it feel being a teacher for so long?
Well, first, you have to understand, this is a career that has been good to me. I mean, I come from a family of educators. My father was himself founded a school back in Haiti before he left, actually 2 schools. Unfortunately, the Collège Saint-Marty was destroyed in the earthquake in Haiti. But all my cousins, my uncles, they all were raised in the school. They all teach math and physics. So it's out of a family trait, absolutely. But I gotta tell you, as the president of the QBBE, I stand on the shoulders of great men that have come before me. When I think of the founders of this organization who stood by for something when they first established in 1971. Now you're talking about some 55 years ago. As a matter of fact, I think they started in 1968, but was eventually, the patent letter was designed in 1971. And they came out of, that I didn't know until I was doing my research, of the old NCC Community Center. So this was the hub. And when you think about, the president that I've had the honor to work with first was Curtis George, and then Gavin Jeffers, and then Dr. Horace Goddard, and last but not least, Dr. Clarence Bain. This man have left a legacy that speaks to me and will endure. So I'm just trying to do what some great men have started, and I'm just picking up the baton, and I'm gonna have to pass it on to somebody one day. But right now, I'm holding on to it.
Well, Tata's shaping up. We have We have one of your mentees that work on the show, Sabby. Sabby
right.
Hinsting is a producer on the Morning Detour since day one. And Tata as well has changed her life around. Her Lifetime movie's coming out in December 13th. She now teaches at Concordia. She does a little, you teach at Concordia.
Part-time faculty, yeah.
There you go. There you
I don't know nothing about no part-time.
Teaching.
If you faculty at Concordia.
I'm teaching in the youth work program.
There you go.
Yeah,
I got to say something before you said. You talked about doctors, and I remember back when I was young, teachers were only second to doctors in terms of being respected. Doing something that you love, but something that's also useful, especially that's forward-looking to the future and working with young children. And I've always felt that I'm glad to know that the Ministry of Education is going back to calling teachers by sir, because I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm sorry, I'm Mr. Adrien to you, because we're not on a first name basis. I always tell the kids, I ain't raised no pigs with you. What you doing calling me by my first? Mr. Adrien.
Ma'am made me feel weird. Like, ma'am.
Listen, man. No, he's right, man. That's also
To serve with love, baby. To serve with love.
One of the Sidney Poitier.
That's right.
Yeah. One of the greatest movies, and it's hard because movies like To Serve with Love and Lean on Me, it won't resonate with this generation. We have to redo those movies so it can kind of connect with them. But I came up on To Serve with Love.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's
and
right.
not only was he Sidney Poitier dealing with the dynamics of being a teacher with students, he also had the racial component as well.
Racial component.
Because guess who's coming to dinner? If you've never seen Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and you black, I don't know what you're doing. I was raised right. I'm going to let you go. I know you came with your bullet points. Montreal, shout out to Joe Black, Drastic Measures, filming the show. Mr. Adrien came with his bullet points. I just want to say something because I'm really excited about this. The QBBE Hotline is a support service offered by the Quebec Board of Black Educators to assist black students and their families facing challenges in the education system. This is vital.
Yeah.
This is vital because a lot of parents, over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of cases. Even my goddaughter, there's been a plethora, not one, not two, a plethora of cases of students, black students, facing racism in school. They have the chats, they're doing the TikToks, they're doing all kinds. It's out of control.
It's out of
control.
control.
They're usually using the N-word. My God, they're just white kids are just running in the hall, just wild with the N-word.
Intervention.
There's no intervention, but also too, what's beautiful about this hotline is that for black parents now there's a support. Now, and resource.
Well, they have a platform, they have a voice, and we tell them, let us be your voice. What happened is, look, this didn't come to more because I've experienced a lot of families reaching out to us for a long time, but it was actually at an education conference that the Afro Summit holds every year. And then, we challenge in terms of what are the challenges in the community. And out of education came out too many teachers, parents were complaining at the level of discrimination in the school. And we, as a group, they thought that because we are in the field of education, that the QBBE was best suited to carry such a mandate because we've been doing it before, but we just want to do it on the larger scale. Why? Because, look, in regions like Quebec City, Gatineau, where there's an increased population of black students. The same thing that happened in Montreal when Canada opened its doors to a non-European migration, and then blacks started flooding the schools in Montreal. They didn't know how to deal with it, so came the Quebec Board of Black Educators. But to one point, a lot of people don't know about us, but they know about the Costa Hall Summer School. And that's our flagship program, and we've been doing it for 55 years, trying to help people. At the beginning, it was for the community, but if you come to the Costa Hall this summer, we have the whole community, all kids, white, Asian, attend our program, not only because they feel it's for the quality and the social emotional. It's how we teach. We teach with love. And we teach with love. So when our kids come to us, we put them back together and then we send them back to go face the dragon.
So for those that don't know, the Costa Hall program is a summer academic support initiative for high school students. It offers remedial courses and supplemental exams to help students earn credits and stay on track for graduation, all in a culturally supportive environment.
That's right. We had at the onset, the QBBE had a partnership with the Ministry of Education because we are one of the only black community organization that can give ministry exams to graduation. With the English Montreal School Board, which then was the Protestant School Board of Greater Montreal, and Dawson College. So that partnership was there. It was solid, and we just continued with the legacy because our
Making it
kids.
flourish.
That's right.
Tata
But,
should be a teacher at the Costa Hall. I can say, do you have room in your schedule?
Listen.
Oh, I'll make room for you,
Listen,
Tasha.
my students, they like. That's why I like what you meant about
We teach with love?
teaching with love.
Yes.
It's all about servitude, right? And it's about teaching them where they're at. You know what I mean? Because too many times we sat in class and you didn't understand nothing and you didn't feel comfortable enough to say anything. I make it so that we don't move on until everybody's comfortable. And if I have to recap and if I have to do office time, so be it. And it turns out like office time, a lot of people just come talk about their personal life, right? You become a therapist. And it's something that people don't understand. You're an educator, not just a teacher. You're an educator. So you educate people on relationships, on proper behavior, not just on the content of the course, you know what I mean? But on life skills, essential skills. You and how you show up with your students, your relationship with them is the intervention, is an educational tool itself.
No, rightfully so. And so many people, I've heard your name for my whole life. And I think one of the things that goes understated about teachers that it's more than just teaching a curriculum. You're teaching them how to be human beings.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You're teaching them how to be good human beings.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I think a lot of people I'm just going to send my kid to school. He's going to do his homework. It's much more than that.
No.
Absolutely. Look, I felt not only was I a teacher, but I also coach basketball because it's one and the same. It's mentoring young men and young women in the schools. And I tell you, when I hear people talk about I don't want to go into education. True, it's a different generation. But at the end of the day, if you have the right aptitude to be a teacher, God, you get nothing but love. I always felt like a rock star throughout my career. I only started working when I became an administrator. And
You are a rock
politics.
star. You are a rock star. You are definitely a rock star.
Back to the hotline though, because off air I mentioned that one of my clients brought up the hotline, right? So what exactly are you doing with the research, with the feedback? Are you creating a comprehensive annual report? Are you using it for policy reform? Like what?
Well, at the end of the day, yes, because too many times it's not documented. So we want to document the numerous incidents that are reported to us on a low level, but now we want to make it accessible to a lot more people from not only in Montreal, but across the province. Where came the idea of the hotline? So the hotline is private, it's free, it's confidential. We put people at ease. Tell us your story. And if you don't want us to react, because that's the thing about, we need to re-educate our people about don't be so complacent and take the abuse. Because
one more time, hold on, I gotta cut you. For the people in the back, because you have people swerving in traffic, people's on the metro, people's in their cubicles at work. Can you say that one more time for the people in the back?
I said, don't be so complacent and take on the abuse. And if you don't want to, we'll do it for you. What we want to do is, at the end of the day, is give you a voice. Because as a principal, I know the inner workings of a school. I know also, the limitation and the challenges that principals have as well.
Right.
So the idea for the hotline is to position ourselves between the community and the schools, and to if the community is not acting right, well, we'll be letting them know and say, well, no, you need to hold on to your business. But if it is something that, and we've seen too often, in terms of evaluation, racial discrimination, unfair discipline, bias marking, bullying, harassment, racial. And I know the solution because I've been a principal, and when people tell me, well, there's nothing we can do about it, that's not true. No, there's a law. And if your child doesn't behave, then I'm going to have to report him. And you should see how parents change. And the problem I have with, first of all, injustice in all its form moves me. Social justice, when I see kids being cheated out of happy experience in school.
Yeah, educational
when you
experience.
have 8, 7, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids tell you they don't want to go back to school. One of the most pressing kids is a grade 11 student, grew up from the States, came up here, sent him to a French school. He had to go to French. And of course, they sent him to Laval, where it was predominantly white school. The kid in January was going to graduate in June, refused to step foot into the school again because of the level of racism. And this is just one of the stories. Just the other day, yesterday, another child came, the mother brought him to me. Why? He doesn't want to go to school because of the racist attitude. And even when he speaks to teachers, They don't do nothing about it. They kind of sweep it under the rug. Now, I want to be clear. There's some wonderful teachers in the schools, in every schools, all colors. However, I've always said that if you're a teacher and you see an injustice being committed and you don't say nothing and then you are guilty by your silence, you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, you're guilty by association.
Okay. Can I sidestep you a little bit? Because this is a conversation that me and Tata have had numerous times on the show. Studies have shown that us in the black community, we have performed better in school when the schools were segregated. So I'd like to know what your thoughts on that. You being the uber educator, teacher, principal, vice principal, do you agree that sentiment? We're not one to really just fall in love with numbers and statistics, but it is a conversation.
It is a conversation. Look, children learn better when they're happy. Children learn better when they trust
we're gonna bar up this whole video. This whole video is bars.
And it's a fact. If you know about it's sometimes students it's nothing to do with their intellect, but if they're not ready to learn, it's because there's something else. And if they don't like you, they may just shut down.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, too many of our kids are shutting down. Look, I just told Tata about a story that I was so proud of this young man who comes to our services. And I tell him, I said, he's in Sec 3. I says, all right, man, we're going to get you ready for that enriched math next year. He goes, no, sir, that's too hard. I said, what do you mean too hard? I said, when did that come into a factor? But the other day, he came up, he goes, Mr. Adrien, would I be able to come with you this summer so I can do the SN class before I go into it? So you see the change of love, the growth. Why?
Yeah, and the approach is different.
The approach is different. Now he feels he's been successful.
He feels seen.
Well, not only that, but he's doing better.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's doing better, now all of a sudden he's like, hey,
Yeah,
I can do this.
he has a little bit more confidence about himself. So now I'm gonna challenge myself a little bit better. Let me come this summer. Let me get ahead of myself.
It takes just someone to care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the sad part about why we wanted to do the hotline. Too many of our children and especially parents, newcomers, don't really know their way around the school and around the school system, the institution, so they don't know how to advocate. But we get it after. What do you mean you didn't do this? What do you mean your child did not? What do you mean he got 59 and they wouldn't give him? A child comes home with a mid-exam 59. You're allowed to ask him, can I get somebody to correct this for me again? Maybe you might have lost a point somewhere. And for them to be denied it's things that I find it hard because I've been there. I've been an administrator. I know what is possible and what is not possible. All you need is a little goodwill, and I think too many of our kids are suffering. And it was reported not only by my own observation, but it's been reported in conferences attended by a lot of educators, how it seems to be rampant. People actually, there's one person working with us that she wrote a book. Her thesis, her PhD was about the racism, because she was baffled that her daughter was now going through the same experience that she did when she was a kid. And that moved her, and that's what we're seeing. And that's why the hotline is there to encourage mostly parents, tutors, and guardians. And we eventually want to move on to black teachers, because we've also heard a lot of the young black teachers don't want to stay. Don't want to stay in education because they don't feel supported by their administration.
And they feel targeted when you support black or racialized students. And some other teachers might look at you and say that it's favoritism, or why are you doing this? But you understand there's cultural nuances to everything, right? Someone had a loss in their family. You are going to cater to them, give them an extension. You're going to be human. And I think that's the part that's missing in teaching, the humanity. Often some teachers, not all, they no longer see the humanity in the students. They just see them as pupils. You know what I mean? And we have to go back to putting care back into schools, Exactly. So really, props to you and QBBE, but what is the number actually families and students could call?
1-866-481-QBBE. Or I'm going to repeat it, 1-866-481-7223. It's best to call between Tuesday and Friday from 5 to 8, and on Saturdays from 10 to 3. Now, we have a couple of operators working with us. They've been trained to ask explicit questions to get the details so that The information is then passed on to a committee. A committee, so far we are 7. We got more people that want to get onto the committee, people that have experience, people that have social workers, the principals and stuff, so that we can examine whatever case study that is brought us to our attention and then deal with it accordingly. Sometimes it's a recommendation to the parent. It could be also a letter to the school board or even to the school administration. And if need be, we've also been talking to Ombudsman Quebec in terms of we push it up the ladder. Now, just the fact that a year and a half ago, the government felt the need to have student ombudsman tells you to the why it's for parents to don't have a voice in the school to be able to call this organization. Yeah. So it just speaks to what they know is going on in the schools.
Yeah.
Is there a solution in sight in terms of just a general atmosphere in schools for Black students? Because it's looking dire for me. Me and Sven's, we've been talking for a couple months, and we would like to create a workshop to go into schools. And I just feel like Black kids don't have a sense of pride of being Black. And I would like for young Black men like me and Sven's and even my cohorts like Tata and Lorena and Vita to go into school and create a workshop où on peut valoriser les jeunes. Like I'm trying to create something where I can go into schools and show Black kids, let's do something dope and show you how beautiful it is to be Black. Because when a Black kid goes to school every day and is dealing with racism and all this other kind of thing, they start to feel a certain way, a certain level of resentment, towards their own self. And it's a beautiful thing to be Black. Oh man, it's a beautiful thing to be Black.
Oppression is real,
I'm a preach for and it's a beautiful thing to be Black and Haitian.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna say it. Look, I think it's important. When I first joined the QBBE, the kids, if you come to the Costa Hall Summer School, you had to take Black history. Now, I don't believe the concept of Black history. There's history that the omitted history. Yeah. So you need to know about your own history. And I think we need to go back to that because I'm surprised to see how many kids today. Look, in our center, I've inherited from the book for Black Studies Center from Dr. Clarence Bain. And there's some wonderful books. So I'll pull out and I see a Soul on Knives by Edwidge Cleaver. And I look at the kids, I say, yo, do you know this author? They may not know the author, I get it. And I said, but he was leader of the Black Panther Party. And then do you know about the Black Panther Party? No. So there's a gap.
Yeah,
there's
in spite of we're living in a society full of information. But I think
it's not the right information for our community.
And I think it's for us to tell our story.
Yeah. No,
you can't. You're
in the right place. That's why the Morning Detour exists.
Exactly.
That's why the Morning Detour exists. Man, listen, it's been great. We're gonna throw up the link on the man. We're starting to run out of space on the Detour link tree. We're gonna create another link tree just for all the things that we sponsor.
Well, let me tell you, if you want to know more information, go on hotline.qbbe.ca and then you get all the information.
I'm gonna throw up there on the Detour 514. Man, this has been great, man. Mr. Adrien,
listen.
The OG teacher, the mogul. Yeah. So you know, they already prepared your spot in the Hall of Fame of teachers, the proper word, of educators in Canada. Not just Quebec. Your name ring bells everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's been a joy of my life to teach. As a matter of fact, even though Tim, but aren't you retired? I said, what do you mean? you still go teach physics in the private school? I said, yeah, because that fuels me. They're the future. So whatever I do, sit on board and try to knock down doors, we need to prepare them to step in. So that's where I get my fuel. It's from teaching them and seeing them come alive and see like with teachers, we say they got that wow moment.
Yeah,
they get it.
Sir. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing to see. Yeah. So we want to make sure that more of our kids are experiencing that in school. But to your point, do you think it's segregation? Look, I believe at the end of the day, we can't segregate because it is a community. We need to learn. Look, I went to school in an all-boys Italian school, and to this day, me and the boys were tight. You know what I mean? Because we've got to experience, especially those that I play ball with. You know what I mean? So
you get them the licks on the court.
so there's definitely opportunities within schools, and I don't want to paint a picture that all school is bad, but I just think specifically this kind of racism. And the thing is, not only the white kids getting into it, now even the Asian kids are getting on board. So that was new to me.
Yeah.
When the child told me, sir, it's not really the white kids, but all the new kids, the Asians, I'm like, no kidding.
That's
so
crazy.
It's open season or not?
No.
It's the issues with model minorities, right? Because we live in an anti-Black world, and it's something that I've also been seeing with the work I'm doing in schools, specifically in the West Island. Because a lot of the immigrants who come down, and especially who are English speaking,
on the
they're in the West Island.
Yeah.
And that's something that we see a lot. And I'm always questioning, what is the underlying root cause? Like what do we need to do? And I think it really comes to training. You know what I mean? Culturally responsive teaching practices. We have, and it's like you have students who come from around the world. They see what the majority is doing. The majority is adopting anti-black behaviors.
So they adopt.
You want to align yourself with the majority. You don't want to be
on our side.
Yes.
On our side.
Yes.
But like we said during, we talk about it all the time, but during Black History Month, there's a point in my speech when I said, what is it? What did I say? Resistance is rebellion. I can't remember, man.
I can't remember.
We said so much stuff,
Yeah.
man. But the fact that we are here and that we exist is the biggest point of all the things. No other group of people has endured more than Black people, and we're still here.
And listen, if they would tell our real story, they'd be surprised how resilient.
We good.
We are.
Listen, we have turned dust into gold.
That's right.
Mr. Adrien, it's been a pleasure. Please come back, man.
Thank you for having me, and it's going to be fun. I will definitely be back.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, DJ Nels, let's play some more fire, man. It's the best urban morning show in the country. Very informative morning. Moon Chaser Tata, the guru of teaching. Mr. Adrien in the building. We're so blessed.
The Morning Detour on CKUT 90.3 FM.